Hi, so this is our last lesson on roots of polynomials. Here's your starter question. It goes back to the content of the work from the very first lesson, so it shouldn't be too tricky for you. Press pause and give it a whirl now. Right, so going over this, we know that alpha plus beta, going right back to the very first lesson for a quadratic, is minus b over a. So that would be minus 9 over 6. We know that alpha beta is c over a, so 2/6, so a third. We don't know an identity for, I've missed one. We don't know an identity for 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta, but we can add fractions. So if we cross multiply times this by beta over beta and this by alpha over alpha, we end up with this, which is alpha plus beta over alpha beta, which we know because alpha plus beta is 3 over 2 and alpha beta is a third. So you can then finish that one off, end up with 9 over 2. And alpha squared plus beta squared, we don't know an identity for, and there's not really any manipulation we can do there to turn it into one that we do. But what we can do instead is we can think about, what about alpha plus beta squared? Because we do know alpha plus beta. So if we had alpha plus beta squared, multiplied it out, we'd end up with alpha squared plus beta squared plus 2 alpha beta, which we do know because, we don't know. That's alpha squared plus beta squared is a thing that we want. We do know alpha plus beta squared. We do know alpha beta, so that gives us something we can work out. So overall, if we think about that, we get the bit that we want here. If we rearrange that expression for this bit, which is what we want, we still on the page? We can say that alpha squared plus beta squared that we want is alpha plus beta squared, take away 2 alpha beta, and substitute in those because we know what alpha plus beta is, it's 3 over 2, and we know what alpha beta is, it's a third. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Right, basically the first part of your lesson is extending all of these things that we know. So we know the rules for the sums, we know the rules for the products, and we're going to, I'm not even going to work them out, I'm just going to tell you the rules for the reciprocals and the rules for the sums of squares and the sums of cubes. Okay, so you will need to make a note of these somewhere. So for the reciprocals, this one, we did it in the starter, we already worked that out. We could do exactly the same for this one and exactly the same for this one. I haven't done them because it seems like a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. But if you want to add these together and see where they come from, you are very welcome to. But these results you need to know. So please make a note of these and make sure that you learn them. Another one you need to know is the product of powers. Now we did do this, I think maybe this, right back in the first lesson, but essentially it's GCSE indices, so you don't need to trouble yourself over this, but you do need to know what they are. Okay, so if you've got all the powers, it's just the products of the individual things raised to that power. Make sure you've got a note of those. The sums of squares, we just did this one in the starter. And all we've got here is an extension of these. So you do need to know these. You need to know it for cubics. This is the result for cubics. You need to know it for quartics. And this is the result for quartics. So although there's a lot to remember, it does form there is a pattern to it. You know, it's not too much to remember in one go because the pattern is the same. The sum of the individual things squared, and then subtract 2 of the other products, okay? Or the products of the 2 terms. And the last one is the sums of cubes. Now I did go over this, I can't remember if it was the first or second lesson, but this was one of the questions that we did, and I went over the multiplying out for this, so you can go back and find that if you can't remember it. But the sums of cubes, so there's the cubes of quadratics, which is this one here. So not dissimilar to this. The individual things cubed, take away 3 of the things added and the things timed. For cubics, it's here. The sum of the things cubed, take away 3 of the things added and the things times, and then the extra bits. And luckily for us, the quartic is not in the syllabus. I think if you in terms of learning them, This one is going to be the hardest to learn, but it does kind of still follow the same pattern. But just make sure that you're familiar with them, and you will need to know them before your exam. Right, once you do know them, we can work on the questions. So a cubic has roots alpha, beta and gamma. Given that the sum of the individual terms is 3 over 2, the sum of two of the products is minus 3 over 2, and alpha, beta, gamma is a half. Work out these individual things here. So if we looked at A, so this is the reciprocals. So we can go back to the rule that we know. We know that the rule for the reciprocals is this over this. So I know that 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta plus 1 over gamma is alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha over alpha beta gamma. And you put delta in there. So this one here is this one, so minus 4/3. Alpha beta gamma is a half. So minus 4/3 over a half is minus 8/3. Okay. Part B. Alpha squared plus beta squared plus gamma squared. So that's this one here that we know. So just the one that you know, alpha squared plus beta squared plus gamma squared. Which is alpha plus beta plus gamma squared minus 2 alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha. Just check that's on the screen. So alpha plus beta plus gamma is this one here. So 3 over 2 squared minus 2 lots of the sum of the two products, which is minus 4/3. And if we do that, 3 over 2 minus 2 lots of 59 over 12. Okay, and the last one, I've probably got room for that. So alpha cubed plus beta cubed plus gamma cubed, let's go blue, is this one here. So this is the rule that we're going to be using. So, oh, come on. Alpha cubed plus beta cubed plus gamma cubed is alpha plus beta plus gamma cubed minus 3 lots of the sums, so alpha plus beta plus gamma times by the double product one, alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha. Just squish it on, plus 3 alpha beta gamma. So what have we got here? If I bring it back down so you can see it. We've got 3 over 2 cubed minus 3 lots of 3 over 2 times by the products minus 4/3 times by 3 lots of this one here, so 3 lots of a half. If we work all that out, oopsie, don't need a 0, don't need that either. 3 over 2 cubed minus 3 lots of 3 over 2 times minus 4/3 times, oopsie. What have I done here? Have I pressed the divide? Times by 3. So 99/8. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, and you would attempt any other questions like that in the same way. Relate it back to the things that you know. Can't think if we had another example. Oh yeah, this was another example from the same section. So the roots of a cubic are alpha, beta, and gamma. Given that alpha, beta, gamma is 4, and alpha, beta plus beta, gamma plus gamma alpha is -5, and alpha plus beta plus gamma equals 3, find the value of these here. Now, the way you could do this, the way we're going to start by doing it, is by just multiplying it out. So if I times these two together, I'm going to get alpha beta plus 3 beta plus 3 alpha plus 9, which I then need to times by gamma plus 3. So if I times it all by gamma, I'll have alpha beta gamma, oh that's a thing that we know, plus 3 beta gamma plus 3 alpha gamma plus 9 gamma. And then if I times it all by 3, I'll have 3 alpha beta plus 9 beta plus 9 alpha plus 27. So that's what I get when I multiply that out. And we want to break this up into things that we know. So we know the products alpha, beta, gamma. We know the product of the two individual terms, and we know the sums of the terms. So alpha, beta, gamma is already as it is. So I'm going to leave that there. That's dealt with. If I look at these, so the ones with the 2 parts in, I've got 9 of them. So plus 3 lots of, I'm going to go alpha, beta, plus beta, gamma, plus gamma alpha, just because that's how I'm used to writing them. So they're gone. And then I've got 9 of the others, plus 9 alpha plus beta plus gamma plus 27. And these are all things that I know. So alpha, beta, gamma is 4, plus 3 lots of alpha, beta plus beta, gamma plus gamma alpha, which is -5. So, and then 9 lots of alpha plus beta plus gamma, which is 3, plus 27. So 4 minus 15 plus 27. What's that? 3? Oh yeah. Plus 27. And that's the end of our question. So what's that? 52. 43. Okay, I don't think you'll need a lot of practice on that really. It's just knowing some rules and subbing in some new numbers. So I'm going to end that one there.